Hello everyone, Ranjita here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how we can do decoupage with pattern paper. It is very simple but lots of simple tips and tricks included in this video. We are going to turn this simple wooden box into a beautiful gift box using some pattern paper and simple paints. So for making this project I am starting with this pattern MDF box here. It is a very simple plain pencil box that slides open, and to stick our pattern paper I am using Mod Podge here. You can use any decoupage glue available. I am taking some white acrylic paint. This will act as my base coat. You can also use gesso in place of white acrylic paint. And then I am taking my desired pattern paper to decorate the box. So to begin with, first I am taking a flat brush and I am giving a very even thin coat of white acrylic paint all over my pencil box. Since we are using pattern paper, this step is entirely optional. You do not really have to do this step. But I prefer doing this step because it gives a proper base, and also the pattern paper would adhere well to the painted surface or prepared surface rather than directly on MDF. Like I told you, in case if you do not want to use acrylic paint, you can also use gesso. This will just prep the wood for us to add layers on top of it. So I'm completely covering the box with white acrylic paint inside and outside, giving an even generous coat of paint all over the box. Once I'm done painting the box and the lid, I'm giving it enough time to dry, and then I'm taking a scale and I'm measuring each side. Since most of these MDF boxes are handmade, you would have slight difference in their measurement, however. So make sure that you take measurements on every side and then cut your paper accordingly. So here I am carefully taking measurements on all sides and I'm just writing it down on the same side with a pencil. Once I am done taking down all my measurements, I am now going to take my pattern paper and I am carefully going to cut out my pattern paper in the sizes that I have measured. Make sure that you cut your pattern paper according to the alignment. That is, in case if your pattern paper has some specific alignment or pattern to it, make sure that you cut your paper according to the pattern. You do not want, for example, if there is a script, you do not want the script to be going sideways on one side and you do not want it to go vertically on one side. So make sure take care of such details. Since my pattern is random played here, I am just going to take measurements and I am going to cut my pattern paper carefully. Like the saying goes, measure twice and cut once. I am always going to cut a tad bit extra than my actual measurements. This is because I will have a leeway of, I can have a chance of making an error while cutting. So since if I take a little extra, I will be having a little chance of making corrections even if the paper is extra. So for that reason, I prefer cutting my paper tad bit bigger than the required size. If you are very confident about your measurements, you can take it in the exact size, but I prefer taking it in a little slightly larger size, not just because I will have a chance of making an error, but also when you have it extra, you can cleanly cover the edges. Instead, if you take it exactly the right measurements, there's a chance of edges being visible. So for that reason, I'm taking my papers slightly extra. Now that our papers are cut, I'm taking Mod Podge here. Like I told you, you can replace it with any decoupage glue that is available with you, or you can also make your own decoupage glue by diluting some white wood glue with some water. So here I'm using Mod Podge. I'm taking Mod Podge and applying a thin even coat on my wooden box. While applying Mod Podge, make sure that you apply enough. You should not apply too less of glue or should not apply too much of glue where it is dripping. So make sure that you have an even coat of Mod Podge on your wooden surface and then apply the pattern paper on that carefully, rubbing it from one side to the other, making sure that there are no bubbles trapped beneath. In case if there are any bubbles trapped beneath, when it dries, it looks really ugly. it looks very unfinished also. So as you can see here, I'm starting from one side and then I'm pushing all the glue towards one side. This way, even if some air is trapped, it gets pushed to one side. Don't try to randomly press it from all sides. That will create more bubbles. So as you can see here, I really have some excess. This was what I was telling you about. I prefer having a little excess rather than going tightly at the corners and sides. After sticking my pattern paper, see, I have done it on two sides. I prefer doing it on opposite sides rather than doing two adjacent sides at a time. So by the time I finish doing it on two opposite sides, the other sides are dry and are free to use. This is the reason I have taken excess in size. So as you can see here, I am taking an X-Acto knife here, and since my wooden box is of good weight, I am just pressing it hard onto the surface, and I am just sliding my X-Acto knife so that I will get a crisp cut of all the excess paper that is available. If it was tissue, you could use sandpaper. You can also use sandpaper for pattern paper as well, but this is a much easier version and gives a neater finish. So I'm just pressing it hard against the surface and then I'm cutting off all the excess paper. So here you can see two sides are done, perfectly finished. So this is the reason I prefer doing it opposite sides at once. Now that both my long sides are done, I'm going to do the shorter sides here. So for that, I'm repeating the same process and applying even coat of Mod Podge, and then I'm placing the pattern paper and carefully adhering it from one side to the other. I'm burnishing it properly so that there is no air bubbles trapped underneath it, and also I will be pressing it from one side to the other so that whatever entrapped air is there, it will easily come out. I'm repeating the same thing on the opposite side as well. If you are a beginner, working with pattern paper and doing decoupage with pattern paper on such flat surfaces is much easier compared to tissue. However, blending with the tissue is much more easier, but if you want to cover your entire surface with a pattern paper, then working with pattern paper is anytime a better option for beginners, because it's very easy to handle and you get very neat and good finish at the end. Once my pattern paper has stuck well and I have given it enough time to dry, I'm taking my X-Acto knife again and I'm just carefully trimming off all the excess paper like I'm showing you in the video here. With this, I'm finishing covering it on all four sides. I'm making sure that there are no rough edges and it is completely adhered well. So now I'm going to decorate it with some more paint, and I'm going to blend this tissue to my background. So for the lid, I wanted to have some more contrast. So I'm taking the lid again, taking the measurements, and then I'm cutting the pattern paper in size. So this was what I was trying to tell. At this point, you need to decide how you want your script to be. Since my panel is lengthwise longer sideways, so I prefer to have my script that way. The choice is entirely yours depending on your design and your convenience. You can have the pattern however you want, but make sure it is symmetrical on all sides. I'm repeating the same process with the lid also. I'm applying a thin even coat of Mod Podge or any decoupage glue that is available with you, and then I'm adhering this paper onto the MDF surface and making sure that there are no bubbles entrapped beneath it, and I'm carefully sticking it. Once the paper is completely stuck and dry, I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm then going to cut off all the excess paper from all the sides using an X-Acto knife. If you feel there are any rough edges, you can always use a fine grit sandpaper and you can just rub it on the surface so that the surface is smooth to touch. You do not have any rough cut surfaces. Okay, this step is optional, but it gives a very neat finish to your finished project. With this, we are done with the basic decoupage. Now I'm going ahead and taking some brown acrylic paint and I'm painting it on all the surfaces where we have not adhered the pattern paper. Try to choose colors that are as close as possible to the pattern paper so that the color and the pattern paper blend in together. I'm using a second coat also here so that I get more better finish. You can also use chalk paints at this stage. It is entirely optional. This is the reason I started with a white base, because the colors will be more true when you paint it over a white or a light base. Once I'm done painting, I will give it enough time to dry and proceed to the next step. To add some more interest, I'm taking some archival inks and a dry sponge here, and I'm just dabbing in inks randomly so that it looks more natural and blended with the background. I did not want my pattern papers to abruptly end, and I also wanted the top of the pencil box to blend in with the pattern paper. So I am using shades of brown, red and black here. You can use distress inks, you can use archival inks, or you can use dry paint or dry brush to blend in your colors here. It is entirely optional on what kind of look you're trying to achieve. Use a very light hand, because we don't want blobs of color. We just want a hint of color so that the pattern paper gets blended with the background. I'm doing the same step with the base as well, so that the pattern paper doesn't look abruptly ending. So I'm just blending all the pattern paper and the corners especially with some distress ink. You can use archival ink or any shade that suits your pattern paper. This is bringing a lot of grungy rustic look to my pencil holder here, or pen holder rather. Adding ink or paint with a sponge is a very simple step and hardly takes any time, but it brings in so much more difference in the finished product here. So as you can see, just dry sponging with ink has brought in the pattern paper and the surrounding paint all together. So this is very easy step that you can add little detailing. So as you can see here, the box looks much more finished and neat now. So now to add a little more personalization to this, I am taking out some rubber stamps from my stash, and here I am trying to make a sentence that says make your mark. So I am just randomly just testing out my stamps here. I am not really bothered about getting a perfect image, because I was trying to get a very grungy look at the end. So I'm just not trying to line it exactly, or mark a line so that all my letters are aligned well and spaced well. So I'm just going with the flow, and what I'm doing is, to avoid making mistakes, I'm just first arranging my stamps properly, and then I'm stamping it randomly, not making very precise details, bothering about precise details about how I'm spacing them, whether they are aligning well. At the end, it's really going to look beautiful. Your spacing and all this is really not going to matter. So when you're crafting such simple projects, don't stress yourself and insist on too many details. Just go with the flow. You will definitely enjoy your outcome. I'm using rubber stamps here along with jet black archival ink. I'm using archival ink here because archival ink is permanent. So you can use any permanent ink. However, if you use distress inks or anything else to stamp, make sure that you give it enough time to dry so that you don't accidentally smudge your stamping. So now I am kind of happy with my stamping. I'm taking another flourish stamp here. It's just a wreath kind of stamp here. It is a rubber stamp as well. I'm just randomly stamping it all over my lid just to add some more interest to the background. To add in some more finer details, I'm taking a micron pen here. This is also archival ink. So I'm just making random boxes here to define my words. Such simple steps are entirely optional, but this brings in your creativity and it adds your own personal touch to every creation of yours. So don't hesitate to go doodling on your decoupaged items. Make your own stamps or your own doodles. This brings in so much more personalization to your products. At the end, I I'm adding some finer details with a white gel pen, just adding some highlights here and there. All these steps are entirely optional, but I prefer doodling and adding my own touch to these personalized products. So I hope you like this. So here you can see our lid is completely done. So here is the close-up view. Just a few inks, a little sponging and some doodling has brought in so much difference to a plain pattern paper. So don't forget to add your own touch to such projects. So you can see the finish here, a little bit of inking has given such a good beautiful leathery finish to our pencil or pen holder. Now to finish up the project, I am taking the same Mod Podge. You can use decoupage glue as well. So what I am doing is I am giving it a thick good even coat of Mod Podge. This is because we have used paper and we want to seal the paper. Once the Mod Podge is dry, you can give either a single coat or 2 coats of Mod Podge, and once it is dry, go ahead and give an even coat of varnish so that it seals your entire work. So here you can see the close-up images of the finished project. Just some simple pattern paper, stamps and a little bit of paint and sponge dabbing with inks has brought in so much life to this simple MDF pen holder. I hope you liked today's video and I was of some inspiration to you. If you haven't done it yet, do consider subscribing to my channel and tap on the bell icon so that you get notified every time I post a new video. I will be back soon with another interesting crafty video. Until then, bye.